Welcome to Foot Bold Analysis. Bold as in you understand, and of course I try to be as bold and straightforward as possible. Having said that, while I'm here in the bubble of the ISL, Indian Super League, I am trying to contribute from my side and try to use my time as good as possible, and I will do some analysis on certain games. I will not choose every game, but to try to pick some games that would be interesting to analyze. I cannot use any video material, therefore I will use animations, and I will only look into key moments in the game. Also, I want to try to keep it as short as possible and be as objective as possible. So I'm not going to fill in the way how I would find solutions or do things. Of course, I will here and there give some ideas on how I would do it, but at the same time I try to be as objective as possible, and hopefully as a supporter or anyone who's watching can do his benefit with it. Let's dive right into it, to the analysis, and hopefully you enjoy. Cheers. Yesterday's game, FC Goa against North East. A pretty exciting or decent first half. Second half was a big drop to me. If we look at the formations, Goa first gave some a lineup where they were playing a 4-4-2, but that seems not to be right. They were playing a 4-2-3-1, and for Northeast United exactly the same. Now, what is important here, Goa had some changes. Landungel went out, young centre back came inside, Aiban, and Brandon of course came inside. That was a big positive for me because it brings some creativity. If you look at Northeast Gallego, small injury, he was not playing, and basically there were 5 changes for Northeast. This can be man management over time, fitness-wise, but at the same time 5 changes is a lot. Of course, the striker came inside, who scored last goal, Fanai behind the striker like the first game. On the right side, Brito came inside for Nintoy, and that was for me a bit of a disappointment, but of course that is just a personal opinion. On the left side, the foreigner Machado came inside again, and right back, Lacra, who played with me also, was injured during the long period of a good player. I'm happy to see him to get some game time. Now, the game you can basically sum up in one way. I think one team that wants to play football and one team plays from the counter attack or waits for the mistake of the opponent, and both were ineffective. And what I mean by that is by taking the win. The team with the most ball possession was not able to create too much, and the team that was playing on the counter attack got 1 point. So overall, both styles were ineffective, not enough effective. You can see their shots on target 2 and 3. That means both teams, it was not their best game, I guess. And you can also see that if you have 702 passes and you don't create more chances than what they had, and it's the same the other way around, waiting for that counter attack and not really getting out and creating a few chances. This for me says it all for both teams: ineffective, not effective enough. Goa is an interesting thing to look at. In the last games I spoke a few times about the midfield of Goa. Great players, but for me somehow, and you have 3 players who play in the ball. Their natural feeling or their natural way of playing is play towards the ball. That doesn't mean that it's all the time like that, but there is a natural behavior that you can see 3 players play in the ball, so you don't create depth in the team. That's what I see. So if you see in this following situation that if Goa does the build up against Northeast, where they're playing basically with 2 strikers defensively, you need to create a 3 against 2. That was done every time, so that was not every time, but Edo Badia most of the time did this. Then the next step in order to open up Northeast is that the 2 center backs, they are eliminated. They hardly participate in the build-up. Every time the midfielders drop in, they get the ball. So in order to kill those 2 strikers of Northeast, you need to get the center backs more involved so that the midfielders can play deeper. So the next step is, in order to break open this block of Northeast that is strong, there need to be a few things that need to happen. The wingers can come inside, the wing back goes more up, so you create more confusion, in this case for Northeast. But the key thing here is that when that happens, when you would do this, those four, there needs to be depth. There needs to be, as this is an example that only happened once, that situation that you get that deep run and you get behind the defense line, and that is not happening too much. And in my opinion, that is due to because the midfielders play too much towards the ball. And I keep on highlighting those four players. So it could be an option if you look at the striker Angulo, if he drops in, that you get you drag in a center back and you get somebody behind the defense line from the midfield, make that run, so you get a ball behind. That also only happened once, but with the striker itself. Now what is the consequence? If you get players into the ball, you get a deep run, it also is possible that you open up the defense line of Northeast. I will take it back. So only because the striker drops off and you get a deep run, sometimes the defensive line drops off you, so you create more space. So that deep running was not there, it was not enough. So just as a few examples, you can see here Idebedia every time dropping off, trying to fulfill the role of Jahu last season, but I think he should play deep, or somebody else should do this role. But that was good to create that 3 against 2. You see it here better against the two strikers. But these spaces by the center backs need to be used more. The center backs were almost absent. There were a few moments, but in this case, if you use the center backs more, the midfielders can play more deep. There are only a few examples of deep play. Here you see Lenny play to the wing side. You see Idebedia play also a bit more deep. Lenny takes off, he makes a deep run. The ball is played to the side, so then Lenny make this run. Now this attack is stopped, because not every attack will be successful. You can see here that I think it's Noriega gets the ball, plays to the side, and he gets the ball back, or he plays the ball towards him and then plays the ball to the back, and he himself makes a deep run behind the defense line. And that's what I'm talking about, is to have deep runs more. And Lenny dropped off, so you get confusion, you get rotations, but for me it's most important that you get a deep run behind the defense line. You can see it here where he ended up, as an example. A second example, here you see Brandon gets the ball, he got to the other side, already on the right side. Serrington makes a deep run. You also see here one of the midfielders, I think it's also Noriega, makes a deep run. Now this attack is also stopped, because not every attack will be successful. But the good thing is here is that the striker here, Angula, he dropped in and takes off. So he drops in, drags in the center back and takes off, gets behind the defense line, and Brandon puts this ball on his head. That was a good example of attack. As I said, if you get those runs, also the right back and the center backs, they drop off. So what you get is the other two players, in this case the left wing back and the midfielder, they get more space. So even if that deep ball is not played, you can still have the option to find these players. So it's all about more deep play, more deep run for Goa. For Northeast is basically very simple. It's a very defensive block, staying organized, looking for a deep ball to hold, and support for either the wingers or the midfielders. They try to support and try to create a chance. They were successful with that once in a decent way. You see here, Goa tried to attack. You get a cross inside. That ball gets into the scrimmage. The ball gets cleared up, and the ball falls on the side between a fight between, I think it's Brandon, I cannot see that 100% sure, and Machado. Machado wins this fight, he gets the ball, he looks forward, and right away plays the ball forward into Sila. Sila was strong, can hold the ball, he lays it off to the other side, they get forward through Britton, and Britton right away again looks for Silla into that space, and he gets into the scrimmage, and it was a penalty. It was a very simple gameplay, and in my opinion, yeah, if Northeast really want to go far, they will have to improve, yeah, a little bit creativity in order to, yeah, also be dangerous forward. So in a nutshell, quickly, Goa, more creativity, and by creativity, more deep play. The midfields, in my opinion, is too many players towards the ball. There needs to be more deep play, more variation. And for Northeast, they need to also add some, yeah, build-up game to their play, because only play, wait for the counter. Then you need to have like ATK, Mohun Bagan. They have the strikers to always finish that off with speed. So that is still to see if Northeast can do that. All right, see you at the next one.